When I was in high school, a bunch of guys started this rumor about me that I slept through their whole friend group. And unfortunately, I found out that that rumor still goes on today, and I continue to be slut shamed. This is not an uncommon experience for anyone that has boobs on their chest. Just ask any of your feminine friends, especially the most innocent ones. They definitely have a rumor made up about them that is related to sex or love. I wasn't hurt by the fact that people were talking shit about me. In fact, that just means I'm famous. However, I am disgusted that slut shaming continues to go on in the 20s. When a woman is said to be promiscuous, it's not to say she's confident, attractive, or experienced. It's to say she's worthless. It's to say she's an object, and it's to say that she is easy. Slut shaming is a power tactic used to control women, and we need to recognize that to protect ourselves. There's a book called He's a Stud, She's a Slut, and 49 Other Double Standards Every Woman Should Know by Jessica Valenti, and I honestly recommend it. There's a few quotes in there that are really good. Overall, it helps with awareness through scenarios and teaches you the dialect you can use when dealing with these situations. Anyways, Valenti writes, "The purpose of the word slut is controlling women through shame and humiliation. Women's bodies are always the ones being vied over for control, whether it's rape, reproductive rights, or violence against women. It's our bodies that are the battleground, not men's." I find the double standards so funny because when men sleep around, they are legends. But when women or anyone that's feminine identifying sleeps around, or even is just suspected of sleeping around, they're whores. I find this funny because once upon a time I slept with someone and all their friends started calling me a whore for sleeping with their friend, but their friend was a legend, which makes no sense because if I'm so cheap and easy, then did you really win the prize? Like, you should be seen as pathetic for stooping so low. But no, he is not. An ironic thing is I used to get called a whore for rejecting men. I wouldn't even sleep with them, and all of a sudden, because I didn't like them back, I was a whore to them and their friends. They treated me this way just based off of rejection. Anyways, one of the guys in high school that made up that rumor ended up taking advantage of someone who was drunk. So it is clear to say what his intentions are with women: to use, to abuse, and to control them. When we spread rumors and talk garbage about feminine identifying people in regards to sex and love, it is to control them. And even if you didn't start the rumor or started the garbage talk, by spreading it, you're still supporting rape culture and objectifying women. When you verbally degrade someone, your friends start to verbally degrade them, and there's a chance that one of your friends might even physically degrade them because they believe that that person's worthless. Which is horrible to say, but that's just facts. Another thing that most people don't talk about is how slut shaming doesn't really have to do with sex. It has to do with punishment. The label gets slapped on feminine identifying people who are seen as visible, attractive, confident, and worst of all, uninterested. It's a way of saying know your place, be quiet, be grateful, be available, but not too available. When a feminine identifying person expresses agency by saying yes or no, suddenly they are a problem. If you say yes, you're easy. If you say no, you're a tease, a bitch, a slut. The rules are impossible because they were never meant to be followed. They are meant to keep us small. A man who sleeps around is seen as admired, and a woman who sleeps around is seen as being used. That alone tells you everything you need to know about how women are viewed. Not something with experience, but something that loses value when touched. Like a car, an object. It really gets me uncomfortable when people are just so confident to say things about women and feminine identifying people out loud. Calling someone a slut doesn't feel serious to them. It's casual, it's a joke. But words create a vacuum. They build narratives. And narratives build permission. Permission to disrespect, permission to cross boundaries, and permission to think that someone deserves what they get. And that's how rape culture survives, quietly, socially, in locker rooms and hallways. Did you hear what she did? Not everyone that slut shames is a rapist, but rapists thrive off of a culture that dehumanizes women sexually. When a woman is seen as an object, it is so easy to hurt her because it's less real and it feels less wrong. Even if women want to sleep around, what is the problem with that? When I was in high school, I was innocent, so that rumor was just bullshit. But I did go through a hoe phase, and I went through a hoe phase after I was traumatized by my ex. I was in an abusive relationship, like physically, sexually, verbally. It was horrible. I have PTSD. So, to reclaim my power, I went around and I just... Anyways, I believe there are two hoe phases. The first hoe phase is to reclaim your power after something traumatic happened to you. So think of like getting cheated on, what happened to me, abuse. And then the second hoe phase is for sexual liberation, which is definitely more of a fun one. Overall, you learn more as a person and gain confidence. Personally, I don't see a problem with either of those hoe phases. I think it's actually pretty healthy. I think we should be able to say out loud that sex is healthy. Once I was in the sex shop. I love going to the sex shop. If you ever need a therapist, but you can't afford a therapist, just go to the sex shop, and let me tell you, those workers know their shit. Anyways, the worker was talking to my friend about sexual exploration and how sex is healthy. And she said this thing that blew my mind. It is, if your work life is suffering, so will your sex life. If your mental health is suffering, so will your sex life. And if your sex life is suffering, so are other aspects in your life. And that's very true, because sex health isn't just about pregnancy and avoiding disease. The World Health Organization says it's a state of physical, emotional, mental, and social well-being in relation to sexuality and requires positive, respectful, pleasurable experiences free from coercion, discrimination, and violence. Sexual health is shaped by gender norms, power dynamics, and social expectations. Exactly that stuff that slut-shaming thrives on. It's straight up good for you. Sex is good for you. It's good for your body. It's good for your mind. A systematic review of 63 studies found a positive sexual health indicators are consistently associated with lower depression and anxiety, higher overall well-being, and greater life satisfaction for people of all gender, ages, and relationship types. A lot of people get uncomfortable with admitting that misogyny hides behind the word slut. It's so easy to pretend it's about morals, standards, and protecting women. But if that was really the case, then shame certainly wouldn't be the best tool to use to protect women or morals or any of that. Violence shouldn't be the consequence, and silence shouldn't be the expectation. So yeah, I don't feel embarrassed by my body, by my choices, or my phases. I feel bad that we live in a society where feminine identifying people's bodies are used as punch cards, where men gain status and women lose humanity for the exact same actions, where even just rejecting someone can get you labeled for life. If being called a slut means that I survived, I reclaimed my body, I set boundaries, I explored pleasure, and most importantly, I stopped apologizing for existing, then that word has no power over me. But unfortunately, it has power over men. And we need to recognize that. Thank you.